Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel for a brand new video. Now that the Vanguard beta is done, it's behind us, I wanted to take a moment today and talk about the game, how I feel about it, some of the positives, some of the negatives, and most importantly, how I think this game is going to play for competitive, because as we all know, that is the focus of this channel, and that's what I want to talk about today. So if you enjoy the video, let me know by leaving a like down below, and definitely leave a comment as well with your thoughts on the Vanguard beta, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more CDL videos like this one from me in the future. I do appreciate all of your support so very much. And let's hop right in. So I'm going to start off by talking about how I feel about actually playing the game, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that because as you see in the clips behind you, I am not the world's best Call of Duty player. My opinion on how the game plays is not that important, but I will talk about it a little bit, so here we go. So for the positives, really two of them stand out to me the most. There's not that many. First off, I really like the gunplay. I think the STG, the MP40, they're definitely going to be the competitive weapons this year. I would be very surprised if anything else makes the meta, but they're good guns. They're fun to use. They're satisfying. The gunfights are awesome. It just plays well. I like the way those guns work, and the other guns too. You know, the Tommy gun is good. The bar is good. There's a couple of good guns in there, and just the gunplay is satisfying. The gunfights are pretty well balanced in my opinion. Also, the visuals. I think there are some visual issues with the game, like features, but in terms of just the way it looks phenomenal. Like it looks on next gen. I haven't played it on next gen. I saw it on next gen and on PC, of course, and it looked great. Just the colors, the way the maps, like they look great. So that's good because it's going to be good to watch, I think, and that's obviously important for a competitive Call of Duty audience, is how the game will look, and it looks phenomenal. So far, I mean, there's a couple other small pros, I would say, but for me, those are the two big positives. And now I'll get on to the negatives. There are definitely more of them. Starting off with the time to kill is way too fast. I think most people agree on this. And even worse, it's very inconsistent. Like sometimes I feel like my bullets or my gun will kill in 3 bullets, and sometimes I'll hit a guy 5 times and then he just still guns me somehow. So the time to kill, it would be nice to have that slowed down some, but also just to have more consistency where if it's going to be fast, at least let it be fast all the time. I think the sprint to fire time is probably another pretty big issue. It definitely takes a while to aim down your sights after you're sprinting. That can probably be alleviated some by the pros who have better movement. They're better at slide canceling, all that. But even pros, pretty much everybody I've seen talk about it has said they do think the sprint to fire time is too slow, and I agree. The maps. Actually, we're not going to get to the maps yet. We're going to talk about the suppressive fire. I hate that feature. It might actually be my least favorite feature in the entire game, which is saying something. Just the suppressive fire where when you get shot, like it's like you're stunned and you can't get away. I hate that so much, especially coupled with that slow or that low, the fast time to kill, because you die very fast. And on top of that, when you get shot the first time, you can't really get away. Like it almost just gives you no chance to win a gunfight if you don't get first shot. And then that encourages slow play, of course, because if somebody can just aim down sights and they can walk or crawl around the corners or just post up somewhere because they have to win a gunfight, that will definitely encourage slow play. So that is not a good sign. I don't like that. On to the maps. They definitely, I don't think, are great, but we also have to consider there are only 4 maps that we got to see so far. There apparently are going to be 12 more maps when the game launches, so I wouldn't worry too much about them though, but definitely the spawns. That's the worst part. The spawns have been terrible. Again, 2 of the maps at least, probably 3 of the maps should not be playing with like 12v12. So like Hotel Royal and Eagle's Nest. Of course there's going to be bad spawns on 12v12 because those maps shouldn't really be supporting that many people in the first place. But even on Red Star, everybody's least favorite map, that map's terrible. The spawns are super sticky. If you get stuck in a spawn trap, you're not getting out of it. You will just spawn inside somebody's sniper scope and die over and over and over. So that's definitely frustrating and will definitely need to be fixed. And we're going to talk about that more from the competitive side of things. Also, the visibility. That's my other big thing. So while I said the game looks good visually, there are also visibility issues. I think that's coupled some with the weather elements where like the sun might be too bright or too foggy at times. But it just seems like there's times where the way I was describing it was I almost thought I was shooting at somebody's name tag, not at their character, because I couldn't really see their character. I just saw a red name tag and started shooting because I couldn't see them great. Especially when you're in a gunfight, it gets worse, like the smoke from your gun, that does not help. So overall, there definitely are some visibility issues. I would say there are more negatives than there are positives strictly from a playing perspective, but now let's get on to the competitive side of things because that is more of the focus of this video. So it might sound crazy, but after all those negatives I just listed where, personally playing, I'm not a big fan of them, I do actually feel pretty optimistic about the competitive scene this year. And you might know why, you might not know why, you probably do. But if you did not know, it was leaked. There was a bug where you could get into a private match and see the CDL rule set. And there was a lot of interesting features that definitely had me feeling better about competitive. There are a ton of features that can be disabled. Like pretty much all of the features that a lot of people don't like and they think should not be in competitive COD can be turned off. Mounting your gun to a wall, that can be turned off. The destroyable walls, that can be turned off. That's like probably one of my least favorite map features so far. especially like Hotel Royal and Eagle's Nest, like right in the middle of the maps. It's just destroyable walls everywhere. You can't even keep up with where everybody's coming from. But those can be turned off, and my strong assumption would be they will be turned off for competitive. So that is very exciting. You can get pings on the mini map in competitive. That's also exciting because the perks that were allowed to be used were shown, and the one perk slot, the only available perk is radar. So they will have a normal radar, and the dots will be there on their mini map, which is cool. It's just classic Call of Duty. At the same time, it doesn't matter as much for competitive because they communicate and they rely on their teammates' voices more than their mini map, but they still use their mini map too. So it's good that we can have that there. The interactive maps can be turned off. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, at least from the maps we've seen so far. There are not that many super important interactive parts of the maps, like on Guvatsu, where the tank on the boat can go up and down, stuff like that. That's cool that it can be turned off, but I don't think it's really going to be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Tactical Sprint can also be turned off. I kind of don't think it will be, because I think it's perk 3. The only viable perk that was not banned in the competitive side of things was double time. So I would assume double time will stay in and tac sprint will stay in, but it is an option at this point. One more thing I forgot that can be turned off is the combat fog. So like I was saying, where when you're in a gunfight, it gets like smoky and you can't see as well. That can be turned off. I would strongly guess that would be turned off. Most of those features that I mentioned, I think will be turned off. I can't see mounting being in. Destroyable walls, I can't see being in. The combat smoke definitely will not be in. Tactical sprint will be, though. I do think it will be. And interactive maps, I think that remains to be seen, because it depends, again, what we see from the other maps. There might be times where there are some interactive spots on maps where it actually makes the map play better and works for competitive. So we just have to wait and see. We have had interactive maps plenty in the past, so I would not roll that out quite yet. It depends how the other maps look. But overall, the biggest thing for me so far, why I'm feeling good, is because Sledgehammer seems very focused on improving and taking feedback. They already put out a list of things they're working on, including turning the sun effects down. That is good. They were going to work on the spawn some. That's definitely good, because the spawns most certainly need worked on. So that is the most important thing for me, because there are definitely some features that, if they can be disabled or tweaked some, this game can be pretty good. And for me, it comes back to what I was talking about earlier. Even though I only had 2 positives in my head, gunplay and visuals, those are like the 2 most positive things that you could build a competitive game around, at least from a viewer's perspective. So if you want to draw on viewers, if the guns are satisfying to watch people use them and the maps look good, if you can turn off those other bad features and you can take feedback and you can just make small adjustments to them to make the game more competitive, that is a perfect recipe for getting viewers to tune in. So I am very happy to see Sledgehammer is definitely going to take feedback on this one. I would assume they're going to work pretty closely with the pros, seeing what needs G8 or what needs taken out. I mean, they already have a bunch of stuff banned out. The bar was one of the weapons that was taken out, some of those attachments. So all of that's good to see that they're going to be working on that, and hopefully they can keep improving it as we get closer to the CDL season. But so far, so good. I do think, too, it's too early to say how we think competitive is going to be, just because we need to see more maps. I mean, we don't even know what the third game mode is going to be. Probably Control. I think there was a leak somewhere where Control is in the files for this, so that would be my guess. But it could also be Capture the Flag, too, because Capture the Flag, of course, was the third game mode in World War II. So it's probably going to be one of those 2 game modes, and we really don't know how they're going to play because we don't know what the maps are. I would say, based on the 2 maps we've seen so far, Eagle's Nest and Hotel Royal probably are the most likely competitive maps to me. I maybe honestly could see Red Star being in only for search, though, because obviously that map, the spawns are too bad to work for respawns, and it's too big, and the visibility is bad. It could be like a Miami kind of, where it's a big map. It might work for search, but the visibility is not great. I could see that being a pretty good comparison. But again, we don't know what it's going to be, and the big worry, I think, so far has been that the spawns for respawns are looking ugly. I mean, squad spawns, we all know that they can be disastrous, like we saw in Modern Warfare. So hopefully, I mean, they have said they're working on them. Hopefully they keep working on the spawns and get them tweaked and make them a little bit more competitively balanced. But we have to see the maps. Like I said, 12 more maps going to come out. There's a decent chance that none of those maps are end up being in the competitive rotation. So there's no point freaking out about maps yet, because we just don't know. However, like I said, the visual elements of these maps has me optimistic we can at least find, 4, 5, or 6 competitive maps that can fill out a rotation. So I'm optimistic there, but we just have to wait and see. And then it also, you don't really know how it's going to work, because with the features being disabled, like the shootable walls, the interactive maps, the worry I think there is these maps were designed with that stuff in mind to be turned on. So how will it work when they're turned off? Like, there was a video going around of Guvatsu where some of the fences, when you have destroyable walls turned off, they're just not there. Probably not a huge deal there, but on some of the other maps, it could be a big deal. So if the developers design a map with the intent of having these destroyable walls in, and then they're gone, that could change the way the map plays. So again, we just have to wait and see how that plays out. It could cause some problems with lines of sight or whatever else, or it could be totally fine that it really wouldn't matter. We just have to wait and see. But so far, that is like one of the big concerns. And I would, maybe not even a concern, but just more of a question, like how will these maps play when some of these features that were supposed to be in the game are turned off? Really, my feelings right now are that this might not be a game that I enjoy playing a ton, especially in the public setting. However, with these features disabled where they won't be so spammy or just so, weird to play in, the competitive side could be good. I am actually excited to watch this game from a competitive perspective. And then, of course, playing it, it depends on the rank system. If they get a good rank system in there and some decent maps coupled with all these features that can be turned off in the rule set, I think we're in for a good year for competitive. I really do. Again, I don't think it's going to be a year where I'm going to sit there and grind pubs. I can't see myself doing that with the way some of these features play and the way the game is designed. But for competitive, it definitely has potential. I'm excited to see how it progresses and to see how the developers keep working with the competitive community to keep making good updates to the game. So overall, pretty optimistic. I think we are in for a good year for competitive, but some does definitely remain to be seen. So that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoy, let me know by leaving a like down below and leave a comment as well with your thoughts on Vanguard for competitive. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one from me in the future. Your support really does mean a ton to me. So I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you have a good day today, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.